outside of your two books about the Egyptian Revolution, are there any other works that you've created?
Well, I've been involved in social justice since I was pretty much a young child. I talk about in a piece that I've just recorded for the BBC for the inauguration of Joe Biden, about meeting him when he was a freshman senator and I was a young pup at a program for high school students. Meeting Joe and others that were running our government in the 70s was a huge turning point for me. It was basically through this close-up program in Washington, the spark that lit the flame within me that I always wanted to be somehow involved in politics. And even though I've moved all over the world over the course of the last 30 years or so, I've always stayed close to my roots. I was an activist with an organizer with the Democratic National Committee. The chairman of that committee was my old boss, Chuck Manat, in Washington. And I've always had an interest and been lobbying and involved for quite some time. When I moved to the Netherlands just before, in 1998, just before the 9/11 would happen in 2 or 3 years, I was extremely interested in ways in which I could write and do more from a journalism perspective. And there was a publication in the Netherlands called Het Financieel Dagblad, and they had an English edition. It was the financial news of the United Kingdom, the Financial Times, for lack of a better word, of the Netherlands. And I began to write features, stories on things that I really enjoyed. I lived on the grounds of a castle, and the castle's great-grandmother put together the first catalog of the Rijksmuseum, which I thought was kind of cool, and the reasons why. And I began to do feature after feature, and that was how I really got started in journalism until I arrived here in 2006 in the UK. And then I began to do lots of American sort of interest. I became an America's expert for the BBC, as well as for ITV here in Wales, and then moved on to do other work with Al Jazeera and CNN International. And then because I was here in Europe, I was also called upon by US news media. So before I knew it, I was writing and providing commentary globally, and that made for a very interesting time in my life. And I started a magazine back in 2006, and we shut it in 2019, but we eventually had 47 contributors from around the globe writing on social justice and climate change and business and politics. And it was something that I really enjoyed editing as well as doing myself. And, stories on voting machines and stories on, voter fraud and things of that sort back in that time were very, very big. And remained very, very closely involved, and was asked years ago to become a correspondent in the White House for back when George Bush was president and during the Obama administration. I just refused to go during the Trump administration because it turned into such a farce. And that's been the story of what I do. I mean, I literally spent the last 2 or 3 months all around the world talking about the US election that was then upcoming and then the results since. I'm hoping things will quiet down, but in the daytime, I'm a marketing and business consultant, and that's my main job. That's the one that pays the bills, and this is my passion, is writing books, and I have an ability to write these timeline books, which seems to be very good. I wrote one about Donald Trump. And I'm very good at diving into the minutia and tying all the threads together so that people get the full story of what happened and why.